As it has been a long gap, so let me just quickly take you through this ActiveOS again. So ActiveOS is basically the workflow we used. So previously we used this Hyperion as a workflow engine, and from 10 versions we are using this ActiveOS as a workflow engine. So we have just gone through the steps. So I'll just quickly go through it again so it can get touched. So this is the MDM part. So from MDM, what are the things that we have to do is basically creating the users. So first thing is we have to create an admin user here. So like I have created an admin user here. This is like I have just given a name as KVOS admin. Something that will be an admin user. So this admin user, one admin user we have to create, which will be there in your MDM as well as in the ActiveOS. Both the places this user has to be created, and the name and the password has to be same. So that's an admin user, and other users who will be using the IDD applications, all the users we will be creating. And once the users are created here, then we have to come to the workflow manager. In the workflow manager, we will see two things: BE ActiveOS and Informatica ActiveOS. So BE ActiveOS, basically you can say Informatica ActiveOS was the initial phase when it was introduced in 9.6.1 version of MDM, but it was not used from 9.6, 9.7. These two were the main versions. But in that, very rarely the company used this Informatica ActiveOS. They were using the Hyperion engine only. So now in the 10 version, they have introduced this BE ActiveOS, which is the default workflow engine. So here you will see that BE ActiveOS is present. In case it is not there, that's not the problem. You can click on this add button, and in the drop down you can see three things will be coming up: Informatica ActiveOS, Hyperion, and the BE ActiveOS. So we will have to select this BE ActiveOS, give a name to this like BE ActiveOS, and the host name, port name, username, and password. So like I have already entered these details. So I have given the same workflow engine name, also same as BE ActiveOS. Host is localhost, port is the JBoss port, and username is the admin user that I have created. And the last thing that you have to do here is going to the roles. Basically, as we discussed, that it supports three roles: data stewards, manager, and the senior manager. Only three roles are supported using the default workflow engine. So we'll have to create these three roles: data steward, manager, and the senior manager roles. And after we create these roles, we need to assign privileges on these roles to the users. So these are the roles I have, and after that I have went to the users and group and assigned users to the roles. So like I had created two data stewards, two manager, and two senior manager, and I have assigned the roles accordingly here. So these are the configuration that first we will do from the MDM side. One more configuration we have to do, that we do basically later when we go and create the IDD application. So that's the first thing that we will be doing from MDM perspective. And the second thing is in the JBoss that we discussed, that we will go to the JBoss and create the users. So in the JBoss, basically we have to go to the JBoss bin directory. So let me open this. So in the basically we need to go to the JBoss location, and in the JBoss bin path we have add users.sh file. we need to execute this add user.sh, and when you click on select execute this, it will ask you to create a user. So there are two types of user. Basically, it will display management user and application user. Management user is basically admin user of a JBoss console, so that we don't need. We need to create application users here. We select here like application user as B, and then we have to give the username and password. For example, I am just giving name as avus1, and the password. And finally, we have to give the roles here. So the roles that we discussed: AB admin, AB trust, AB service consumer, and the role that you want to give him, like data steward role, data steward, any that you want to specific this user, you can provide it here. And if you want it here, you can do it here itself, or you can do it at a later point of time also. So as of now, I'll just leave it. So once you have done it, it basically gets stored in two files: the user details, means the username and the password, and the roles. Whatever roles we have given, those get stored in these two files. So it will give you the exact location of the files where the files are stored. So these, there will be two files: application-role.properties and application-user.properties. So under these two, we will have all these details, that what are the users created and what are the passwords. So like this, we have to create the admin user, the same admin user we have created in MDM, plus all the users. Like I have created two data stewards, two manager and senior manager. So same users I need to create here in the JBoss also. So once we create it, it will store in these files: application role.properties, and then we have application users.properties. In these two files, it will get stored. So now, like once we have created the admin user and other users, now we can go and log in to the ActiveOS console. So now for ActiveOS console, we have a different URL. So whatever the IP you are using, IP:8080. Now we have to give ActiveOS. So now it will take us to this screen, ActiveOS screen, where we need to enter the ActiveOS username and the password. So this username and password will be the same username and password that we have created in MDM as well as in the JBoss. So once we log in, it will allow us to log in using that user. And also, like once we are logged in, we can see like on the top right corner, if you see, you will see that the username which I have entered, KVOS admin, that username is present. It will reflect that username. So here, like you don't have to do much. If you go to the admin, everything is there, means everything is already set up. If you check, there is a server status on the left hand side. If you click on the server status, it shows that the ActiveOS server is running. The only thing that we have to do here is go to the identity services. In the identity service, it shows as like identity service provider type as MDM. So that's a drop down basically. So in the previous versions, they had like many drop downs. They had like XML, LDAP, JDBC, like just different types of connections were there. But in the new version 10.1, they have just MDM. So we need to select this provider type as MDM, and now here we have to enter the same admin username and password. So again, I have entered here like ABOS admin and the password of that admin user, and click on update. We need here an MDM username and password, admin username and password. So after we have entered this, we can go to the test and we can enter a user. Like I have just entered senior manager 1. This is the user I have created. And when you click on this, it will show on the down that test successful. So this is an important step here, identity service, because unless this is set up, ActiveOS will not be able to connect to MDM. The communication between both of them will not happen. So this is an important thing. Other things are not required because in the last time that I had told you that we have to configure a lot of things. I told you that we have to deploy the BPRs, we have to set up the license file and other things, but those are not required. Basically, that is required only if you have not installed the ActiveOS properly or ActiveOS is not installed properly. Then only if you go to like license, for example, if I go to the license here, it shows that license is already there. But in case it is not installed properly, then only it shows that these things are not installed. Means these license will not be there, the other things will not be there. So we will have to manually insert it. But if it is installed properly, nothing don't have to do anything. Just we need to go to the identity service, provide an admin username and password, and we can test all the other users that we have created. And this is the only change which is required for ActiveOS screen. And next is like we have to go to the IDD configuration, and in the IDD configuration, the task. So once you like go and create a new IDD configuration, you will see there is no task type available here. So that is fine. Like first go and create the IDD application. After that is created, you extract that IDD application, means do an export of the IDD application. Open the bdd config.xml file, and you have to search for task type. So those instructions are already in the document. So you can just search for the task type and replace it with a particular tag that is there in the ActiveOS document, and then import the file back again. In that case, you will see all these merge and merge, final review, notification, review and update will be coming here. So once this has come, now you can go to the subject areas, and for whichever subject area you want workflow to be implemented, you need to go to the edit subject area and the task assignment. And in this, you will have to add all the users. Means the task type, basically update, review, no approve, final review. And like as we have seen that a data steward can do all these things. Data steward can update. He can do a merge, unmerge, and notification. These 4 things are done by a data steward. Review can be done only by a manager, and final review can be done only by a senior manager. So these roles are fixed. In the previous version, like till 9.7.1, we had a flexibility where I can say that I want the review, final review, everything to be done by a data steward. But now we don't have that flexibility that a data steward only can do everything. I have to mandatorily create these 3 roles and process the data accordingly. And by default, IDD goes for 2-level approval process. So if you go to the means here, if you see there is a diff on the top right corner here, default approval task is here. So in the default approval task, I have not selected anything here. This means that it will go for a 2-level approval process. But if you say that no, I don't want 2-level approval process, I just need a single level approval process. In this case, I can come here and in the drop down, I can select like review, no approve. So if I select review, no approve, sorry, not review, no approve, final review. So if I select final review, it will directly go for the final review process. So only it will be one step approval process. So that also can be set up at a subject area level basis. One step or two step. If you don't select anything, it is a two step. If you select it, like final review or review no approve, we can select it here. That what is the default task type I want to create. So once you have done this change and redeploy the IDD application, then again we have to go back to MDM. In MDM, again we need to go to the roles. Roles, basically all the roles like data steward, manager, senior manager, all the three roles we have to go. And under those roles, you will see custom resource here. So custom resource is basically for the IDD application. So unless we have an IDD application, like in case you have not created an IDD application, and if you go and check, you won't see any custom resource. It will be blank for you. But if you have created an IDD application and deployed it, you will see custom resource coming up. So in the custom resource, what are the things that you have to take care is, first is the, if you come, there is a search query. So search query is basically like in the IDD application side that we had seen, we can create some queries. So if you want this user to, because we have to give read access to all the users, all the roles basically. So we will select at least read and execute permissions we will give. But if you want that this user can even create, update or delete the queries, we can give the permissions. So here I have given it, but usually it is not given. We usually give read access and execute access only on the queries, because as we discussed that an admin user will go and create all the queries, and any other user who logs in, he will just reuse those queries which are created. So that's why we don't allow anyone to create the queries. Just like in the test environments, yes, we can do, because the testing team might say that I want to create my own queries and test it. So in that case, we can give temporary access to create the queries and then revert it. After that, you will see a subject area tag. So whatever subject areas you have created, all the subject areas will get displayed here. So as of now, I have here many subject areas, but I am just focusing on this subject area, which is person. So on the person, I have given all the access again here: read, create, update, delete, merge, and execute privileges. So this means that what I want is, I want that any data steward who creates a record or updates a record can directly save the record. That is what create permission is: create, update, delete. I am saying that any data steward can directly delete the record, directly update the record and save it, create a record and save it. So I want that, that's why I have given all the access. But if you say that no, I don't want it, I don't want a data steward to edit a record and directly save it, because I want to implement workflow. In that, I will just remove these checkboxes. I will give only read permission and execute permissions on the subject area. So read permission and execute permission on the subject area means whenever a user tries to edit a record or creates a record, the save button will be disabled. You will not be able to save it directly. So he will have to click on a button which is called as a send for approval and send it to approval process. So in case that is required, you can just remove these checkboxes and give read and execute permissions on the subject area. And now if you come down, this is a task type. So for the person, these are the task type for person. So as we know that data steward can only do like notifications, unmerge, update. These are the things which a data steward can do, and merge, 4 things. So that is why I have given all access on these merge, notification, unmerge and update to a data steward, because I know that data steward cannot do an review process, or he cannot do a final review. So here we have to give all the access: read, create, update, delete, merge and execute, because that is fine that a user can edit a record but he cannot save it. But when he goes through an approval process, if he wants, he can edit the record or he can update the record. So on the task type we give all the access. On the subject area we give only read and execute privilege. But if you want that no, he can save it also, you can give all the access there itself. Similarly for the manager, so these are the only things that we have to take care: subject area and the task type and the queries. Similarly, if I go to the manager role, I have given only review, no approve access, because I know that this manager can do only review, no approve. Similarly, if you go to the senior manager can do only final review. So for the senior manager, I have just given the final review access. These are the three things we have to do from in the MDM side, in the JBoss, plus in the IDD. So once we are done with all these things, then only we can say that the configuration for the task is complete. So now let us go to the application now. So in the application side, again the URL now you know that IP:80/BDD. That will take you to the application screen. So now here I will enter data steward. So for example, I have created a user as DS1, which is a data steward. So I am entering that username as data steward and giving the password, and then logging into the IDD application. So now like we are in the IDD application here, and in this IDD application we will create one new record, and that record we will send it for approval. So on the top we will get an option for create master data, and then we'll use person. So I'll just enter the details, first name and the last name only here, and then click on the apply button. So as you know, once you click on the apply button, the cleanse is applied. So here you can see display name has been populated. Just whatever is the first name and the last name, using that display name has been populated. And now we have two options coming here. If you see on the top, you have both save also there and send for approval, both are there. Yeah, hi. So as you can see here, two options are coming here: save and send for approval. So save is coming because object area we have given all the access. That is why save button is coming. If you have not given access, save will be disabled. Only send for approval will come. So we'll click on the send for approval. So this create task screen will come here. So in the create task, basically it is us. asking to create a task here. So if you see here, it will have like the task type. The task type is saying as review no approve. So basically it is going for the review process. And if you see assign to and click on this, you will see that two options are coming here, manager and 1 and manager 2. So if I am going to create a task, it will go to manager and this both the managers basically. So now basically automatic task assignment don't happen because automatic task assignment was happening in the previous version till 971 of India, but now it is not happening. In the new version 10, the user has to basically pull the task. So it will be a common queue, and from the common queue he has to see what are the tasks and he has to pull or claim the task. So that's why automatic task assignment doesn't work here. So we'll just cancel it, and if you want you can put some comments here. And then click on OK. So this will create a task. So the task has been created. Now the task is created, so now I cannot see the task. So if you see, there is a task manager just next to the data manager. If I go and see available task, I don't see that task there basically. So I will have to log in as a manager. So any manager basically can log in. Like I have two manager 1 and manager 2. So suppose like I am logging in using a manager, means a user who is a manager basically. So now once we log in, we can see that there are tasks here, and there is the task that we just created, the first one, send for approval. So I can see it from here also, or there is a task manager also, into task manager, and here also we can see the task. So it is showing 3 tasks here, and you can see on the right hand side the owner is there. So owner is unclaimed, means no one has claimed this task as of now. So we cannot do any action on this unless we claim this task. So first thing is that, so this is a common queue. From the common queue, a manager, means there might be many managers, so they will log in and they can see all these tasks here, and after that they can claim it. So first thing is claiming the task. So now I'm clicked on the claim, and after that I will have to do a refresh here. So here you can see the owner is now manager 1. So like this, a user has to log in, he has to claim the task, and after that he can see the tasks here, what are the tasks, he can review it, and then if once it is reviewed, he can go to the options and do a escalate. So if you do an escalate, it will go to the final review process. So once I did an escalate, it shows task has been executed successfully, and if you see this task here, it is closed now. The status is closed. Closed in the sense it is closed for the managers. And now it will be open for a senior manager. So for this level, the task status is closed. So no one can claim this task again and work on it. So now we'll go and log in as a senior manager. So this is a senior manager role using which I have logged in, and after that I can see the same task is coming up here again, and it is showing the task type as final review. And if I go to the task manager, I can see the first one, which is the status is open. So again I have to claim this task. So again we will have to go to the options, and then these are the options: approve, reject, and disclaim. So once this is approved, then the status of this record or the hub state indicator will basically change to 1. So we'll go and now approve this task. So the task has been approved successfully, and once the task is approved, again the status is closed. So means is done from the senior manager side. And now once the task is reviewed or final reviewed by a senior manager, there is a notification that goes to the data steward that the task has been completed. So again the notification doesn't goes to the same data steward who has created the task. It is again goes to the common queue, and from the common queue a data steward has to look into, need to claim it, and then approve it basically. So now the next step is we'll go back and log in as a data steward. So once we log in as a data steward, we can see here the task type is notification. And again we can go to the task manager and see same thing, that it is in open state and it is not claimed by anyone. So first we will need to claim it. So again click on the drop down and click on the claim button. So now it is claimed by the data steward DS1, and now I can go and approve it. So approve doesn't come here, it just comes as OK. OK means I have seen like whatever changes I have done, that is reviewed by the data steward, means has been final reviewed. If you want to see task details, means you can see the task details here. So as of now I didn't enter anything like in the review process or the final review process. So if a manager or the senior manager will put some comments here, those comments will be visible here. So we can, the data steward can see that comment, and then he can click on OK. So now that's the only last step, just need to click on OK, that's it. So this has also made the status as closed. So this is basically the task and how basically it works in the MDM. So usually no one creates any record and send for approval. It is basically this updates. In case anyone wants to do an update, they will do an update and they can send for approval. Or the second thing that happens mostly is the this merge. So run the match process, you will see that automatically the task MDM will create task and it will appear here in the available task. So I can open the task and see like the first record suppose is matching with the second, third, and record. All those details I can see. So I need to claim that task and I have to work on those tasks. So usually in this either updates will happen or the merge will happen. Other than that, usually we don't make any changes here because no one creates any record from IDD, but in case someone is creating, then he can send it to approval, either one step level approval or two step approval process. Any questions on this workflow? Okay, so that is from the ID side, like what are the things we do, and then so just go through it and try to create an IDD application. You must have created like at least couple of base objects, so that is fine enough. If you have at least two base objects, also customer and address, that is sufficient. So you can go ahead and create this IDD application. Try to create it, and in case you are facing any issues, let me know. Okay, so now like I will tell you about the SOAP UI. That this SOAP UI basic, like we had seen only one thing basically for truncating the tables. So now I'll just show you like the other things also which are there. Like one question, like have we discussed this SOAP UI, like all the requests, get request, put request? I don't remember, so that's why I'm asking.
No, no.
Okay. So SOAP UI request is basically to fire all the services explicitly. So I can write a Java program, or I can use a SOAP UI also to fire all these things, to create a new record, update a record, delete a record, or cleaning the tables. Everything, whatever we can do from the MDM, we can do it from the SOAP UI. Not everything. I mean, some of the services are exposed, but most of the major things we can do. And similarly, otherwise, we can write a Java program also, and we can do it. So first of all, we need a visual URL. A visual URL is basically will give us the URL where I can communicate with the MDM. So it will have like all the APIs, like get request, put request, search request. All these APIs will be there with all the parameters, input and the output. Input parameters will be there, which I can use to fire the services. So to get a visual URL, you will have to type like whatever is the IP port number /CMX we use for MDM. After that, we use underscore request underscore WSDA. So we have to copy this URL. So once we enter it, you will see some XML form. So we don't have to bother about this. What is the XML form? So now, once you have copied it, you can go to the SOAP UI and go to file, new SOAP UI project. And paste the visual URL and give the name of the project. So this will import basically all the services. So once we import it, we can see like here all the services will get displayed. So now we'll see some of the requests basically. Usually as such, like if you say about the developer perspective, we don't usually use the SOAP UI. We use only for two scenarios. One is like when we have to clean the tables. One reason why we'll come to the SOAP UI, and the second is like when we have to do a hard delete. So we have been talking about soft deletes. Like whenever we delete a record from MDM, we always do a soft delete. Soft delete is basically it will put -1 in the hub state indicator column. So only for these two reasons we'll come to the SOAP UI and do it. Otherwise, we generally don't use it. But sometimes for the testing team, we might have to do, because the testing team wants to create some records or they want to run any batch jobs. So for that, they prefer a SOAP UI instead of like logging into MDM and clicking on the execute batch to execute a batch. So we'll see some requests here. So once you expand it, and let us go to the get request first. So I am in the get request here. So in the get any request that you expand, you will see that there is a request one. So in the request one, if you open this, you just do a double click, it will open on the right hand side. It will have like a lot of options here. So basically these all are input parameters that can be passed, and not all of them are mandatory here. So a sample request is also there in the shared path, which you can use it. So you can do just click on the request, do a right click, and then you will get an option to clone request. So click on this clone request, give a name, like for example get address or something. So for whichever base object you want to create it, you can just give a name and a copy will get created here. So now like here, what are the things? Means see, there are a lot of things available here, but we don't need all the things. So I will just remove all the things which are not required. So if you go on the top, the first thing is username and password. So this URL that we are seeing on the top, you can see the URL. This is common URL, and this is common for all across the ORS. So now we have to tell that for which ORS we want to fire these services. So I'm giving the username and password, like admin, and admin is my username and password. You can give your own username and password here. And some things which are not required, I will remove it. So next is the security payload. This is not required, it's an option. So I will remove this. ORS ID. Now from where do we get this ORS ID? So ORS ID I can get it from two places. First is like I can go to the MDM databases, in the configuration databases, and click on your ORS. In that case, you can see database ID on the term. So we can copy the database ID from here itself. Or second thing that we can do is we can go to C repos DB release table, and that table also contains the details. So C repos DB release table also will have the same information. So I can go to any of the place and just copy this and put it here in the ORS ID. Similarly, now the next thing is interaction ID. These are the things also not required. So I'm just removing it because I know that what are the things which are required and not required. So that's why I'm just deleting it from here. So once you do it for a couple of times, it will be clear to you also, like what things you need and what you don't need. Similarly, the base object name. So Siberian object UID. Siberian object UID, we can give two things. One is like I can say base object dot get the base object name itself. So base object and a dot, like a base object from where I want to pull the data. So let us check what is my base object name. Okay, I will take this table C underscore customer. It is having some data here. So base object dot C underscore customer. I can put it like this, or what I can do is I can put package. So I can say package dot package name. Whatever is the package name that we have created on the customer, we can use it. So usually, like for our testing, we can use the base object directly, but other than us, like anyone who wants to use it, we will give them the package name, that package dot, and using that we will try to access that data. So both the way it is fine for us, but for other than us, we always give the package name. And now, because this is a get request, and get request is used to get a single record from the database. So this is the URN record key. So this is the tag basically, and under this tag we have different things like system name, row ID object, source key or the PK source object, and row ID extra. So which record I want to pull? So for that, again, for example, we'll go back to the SQL developer and we'll go to the cross reference table. Okay, so in this table, suppose I will take this record. I have row ID extra as 1, the row ID object is also 1, which belongs to a CRM system, and the PK source object is 3. So I will take this record and I will get that into the SOAP UI. So I'll put the same details in the SOAP UI. So system name is CRM here. Row ID object is 1. PK source object is 3. Period start date and end date I don't need because I don't need to fetch the database on a particular timeline. So I will remove it. And this is also not required. And finally the row ID exref is also 1. So I'll put the row ID exref here. And system name. So wherever this question mark is there, we need to either, for example, on the down again, you can see there is a question mark. So wherever there is a question mark, either you have to put something there, or if you don't want, you can just remove that question mark, the tag itself. So now this is the get request is completed, and now we can fire this request. So to fire this request, we have to click on this submit request button. So once we do a submit, you can see on the right hand side it shows that the get was executed successfully, retrieved 1 record. So it will show us like all the details, all the columns and all the values which we have in the column, including the system columns, everything, all the details will get it here. So that's basically a get request, which is used to get a single record from the database based on the input parameters that we have passed. So similarly, we have a search request, which is called as a search query. So in the search query, I have already put the details here. Search query is basically used to return like multiple records based on criteria. So anything like we go to MDM data manager and we do a filtering search, or if you go to IDD and you do a search, wildcard search, same thing we can do from the SOAP UI also. I can do a wildcard search from the SOAP UI also and see if I am getting all the records or not. So here let me check the names. What are the names? Okay, so I have like here names starting with F1 and F2 are there, the first names. So I can use this starting with F percentage. So other things you can see on the top, everything is same here. The username, password, ORS ID, the Siberian object UID, and then we have a filter criteria. Filtering criteria I'm using like first name like question mark, and the question mark value is provided here in the filter parameter. So I am putting like first name like F percentage. So this will give all the records where first name is like F percentage. Okay. So the database ID is different here. So let me copy it again. So here it returned the records, and if you go down at the end, it will give us like total number of records returned is 2. So that is correct because we have only 2 records in my table which starts with F percentage. So we have F1 and F2 as first name. So that's why it returned 2 records. So like this, basically this is the search request. So this we can do it from IDD itself, or we can do it from the data manager also, and from the SOAP UI. So this is the get request, search request. One more is like put request. So put request is basically used to add a record or update a record into the table level. So this is my put request, where again on the top same things are there: username, password, the ORS ID is there, and now on the down we have this record key. In the record key, you have to specify that system name, for which system you want to create a record. So I have given system name as CRM and source key or the primary key as CRM123. So I want the PK source object to be CRM123. And then under the record tag, I have to put all my columns. So these are the names, like for full name I am passing these names here. So that's the field, basically URN field. So under this tag I have to put all my fields, what are the field and what are the values. Only 2 things here. So if we see this tag, you have only 2 things, the name and the value. So for whatever column you want to insert the data, you will have to pass it here. And at that we have a base object and the name of the base object. So either you can use again the base object or base object name, or you can see the package.package name. So we'll execute this. So once we executed it, it shows that action type equals to insert. So basically it has inserted a new record into the table. Why? Because it is not able to find a combination of CRM system and PK source object as CRM123. So that is the reason. So if we go back to the table, we'll see like one more record getting added here. So this is the new record which has been added here. So it shows that PK source object is CRM123, row ID system is CRM. So that's basically a put request which can be used for inserting and updating. Now suppose if I go and try to update something, for example like the first name value. First name is like F1. If I am putting F1, 2, 3, that's the change only I am doing. I am just changing the first name value here. Other values I am not changing. And especially I am not changing the system name and the PK source object. These two are I am not changing at all. So if I am not changing, then will be able to find this combination that for CRM system, CRM123 primary key already is there. So it will do an update instead of an insert. So we'll execute this and next time it will show us an update. So I have executed it and here you can see it has gone as an update here. So inserts and updates can be done using this put request. And if you go back into the table and we can check the data, like first name value will get updated as F123. So these are the requests, basically three requests: get request, and put request, which are mainly used. Other than this, the other which are used is the batch group, running the batch jobs. So running the batch job is basically execute batch job. That's the API. So for that you have, for everything you have execute batch stage, you have execute batch load, execute batch match. If you want to execute just a stage job, load job, match job, you can do that also separately. You can run the jobs. And if you want to run a batch group, you can execute a batch group also. So this is my batch group here. So this is mainly the testing team uses, because to the testing team we have to tell that for customer this is the batch group name, for like address this is the batch group name. So all the batch group names you tell them. So they just need to change their username. So we will not give that username and password basically. So they will use their own username, password, and the ORS ID. And what only thing we have to put here is the batch group name. What is the batch group that I want to execute? So from where we will get this name? We will get this name from the batch group. If you go to the batch group, you have given a specific name to the batch groups. So we need the same name. So let us go to the batch group. So in the MDM we have these mini batch groups which are there. So I just need to click on any one of the batch group and I will get the name here, that what is the name of the batch group. So we can just copy that name here. Like for example, this is CRM staging, so I can just copy this name. I want to execute this batch group. Copy this and paste it in the SOAP UI. already I have this CRM staging only here. And one more thing that I have to copy is the name of the OS. So that's the only thing. So the testing team will just use the batch group name and they can execute any batch group from here itself. No need to go to MDM. So I have just one thing we have to change is the batch group name. So once we have changed it, we can execute it. So it shows that it is running currently. If you go back to the MDM and do a refresh, you can see it is running currently. So it is showing that it is processing. So the stage job is getting processed here. We had 3 stage jobs in this batch group, and one for the first is getting processed here. So like this, basically we can run any batch job. So still the third one is getting processed. So it is showing it is running currently. So that is basically helpful for the testing team so that they don't have to log into the MDM every time and run it. They can come here and just give the batch job and they can execute it. So now it is completed. So this is the batch group. So I have run the execute batch group. Similarly, if you want, you can run any other job as well. Like for example, this is a stage job. So in the stage job, again, you have to specify the stage job name. So stage job, load job, if you want to run it separately, that can also be run. But usually like we use this execute batch group because we have already created a batch group for every base object. So we usually execute that one. And this one is the clean table that we had seen. Clean table is basically used to clean the tables. So in this clean table, again, we have to pass the same details, username, password, and the base object that we want to clean. So here in the clean table, we have the Cyprian object UID. So base object dot c customer. Clean staging, you can make, I have made it as a true, means I want to clean the staging tables also. If you don't want to clean the staging table, false. Because once we are doing the development, in that case, nothing is changed in the landing table or the staging table. Probably I have done some changes in my base object label and so I just want to reload the data back again. So for that, you don't need to truncate your staging table. You can say clean staging is false and execute this API, which will only clean the base object and all the associated tables. And after that, you can just go and run the load job. Otherwise, if you do this clean staging equals to true, you will have to run the stage job as well as the load job, both of them. And only thing that you have to take here is the dependency. So you have to take care of the parent and child relationship. If you have, like, this is my customer table, which is my parent. So if I run this, and if there is any data in the child table, it will throw an error. So we'll have to clear the child tables and then we can come and clear the parent tables. So that we have to do one by one. We don't have any option where I can specify the dependency and can run it. Every time you will have to change the name here and execute it. Or what you can do, so basically you have to know what is the dependency, or you can, as I told, you can do a right click and do a clone request and create a clean table for all the tables. So you don't have to modify it. Just come here, do a double click, open it and execute it. And now we'll see one last thing here which we use. So we use only these two things. We use this clean table API, and the second is execute batch delete. Execute batch delete is basically used to hard delete the data from our base object and the associated tables. So why we want to do a hard delete? Basically, we want to do a hard delete because the record is itself not present at the database level, means the source level. So source system had some customers which they have deleted now. So if the source system has deleted their customers, we also need to delete the customers from MDM. So that's why initially I told that in case they say something, we'll go and do a soft delete and keep the data in our table level. And at a later point of time, when they don't come up in 15-20 days or maybe a month time, we can go and delete all the data. So depends on how you want to implement. You want to do delete immediately, you can delete it hard delete, or if you want to do a soft delete, keep it for some time and then do a delete, you can do that also. So in this basically we have to, on the top again same things are there, as you can see, username, password, the ORS ID, table name is customer, that is the base table name. Now we have to create a temporary table here. So that temporary table will contain the row ID XREF value. So let me go to the database and create a table here. So here I am selecting the same record. I am selecting like select a star from C customer cross reference, where the PK source object is CRM123. So we can know the PK source object only. We cannot know because source system has deleted the record. So I can know the primary key, what record they have deleted. And source system primary key we keep in the PK source object column. So I know here that this is my PK source object as 123. So now I will create a table here. So I need this one, select row ID XREF. So I am creating a table temp_cust as select row ID cross reference from customer cross reference table, where PK source object equals to this. So I know that what are the records which have been deleted. Basically I know the PK source object of the source system. So I can put here one more condition like and source system, or sorry, row ID system equals to CRM, and I will create this table. So now this table is having only one record, So this is having only one record, that is the row ID cross reference. So I will use this table name now. Go to the SOAP UI and put the table name. So in the source table, I will have to put the temporary table name that I have created. And then these are by default recalculate BBT, it will recalculate the BBT. Cascading through. Cascading through is basically if you want to delete all your child tables as well. Like I am deleting a customer. With that customer, there might be some address also associated. So I want to delete the child record also, because if customer is not there, there is no point of keeping the addresses. So you can say cascading through. Otherwise, you will have a problem there, because you will have to go and identify which is the address and again delete the address specifically. So that is why we have to put cascading equals to true here. And this we usually keep it false, like override history and purge history. Means we don't want to delete the history information. So at a later point of time, at least you have some reference which you can look into. So now if you go and execute this, so it is successful here. You can see the message has come up here that one record has been deleted. So process PU count 1, process cross reference count 1. From the base object and from the cross reference, one record has been deleted. So if we go and check now, go back to the SQL developer and select this query again, we won't get any data for this. You can see it's a blank here. So the record is basically hard deleted. So this is what we can do in case we know that there are some records which have been removed from the source system and we also need to delete it from our MDM. We will use this SOAP UI, basically script, execute batch delete, create a temporary table with all the row ID xref values, and then pass it here in the SOAP UI. So this will delete all the records, basically do a hard delete of the records instead of putting -1 in the hot state indicator column. So these are the main things. Basically, there are a lot of things which are there, but usually those are not used. We don't use it as such because everything is possible from the MDM or the IDD. We can log into MDM and we can do all these things. Just a couple of things, as I told, as a developer, we use only these two: execute batch delete and clean table API. And for the testing team, they use this execute batch job mostly to fire the jobs. Other things are also like get request. Usually it is used rarely also by them. In case they want to create a duplicate, they can just load the data in the landing table and they can run the job, batch job, which will load all the data in their tables. So these are the main basically APIs that are basically used in the real time. So the same thing like what I have shown you from the SOAP UI, tomorrow I will show you from the Java program. So I have some Java programs using which we can do the same thing. We can do a get request, put request, or execute a batch job. Everything can be done from the Java program also. Internally it's a Java only which is being called. So I can call it from a SOAP UI, or I can write a Java program also. So this is easy for us. We don't use it, but as part of training, I will tell you that also. You want to use, you can use it. And that Java program is useful in those cases, especially like for the clean table, because as you saw here in the clean table, I am putting all the table one by one. If I have to delete customer, I have to know that okay, address is a child table, so first I have to go and delete the address, or maybe some other child is also there, so many levels might be there. So I need to know the dependency, and every time I have to check whether that child table is empty, not empty. Then I have to delete the child table, then the parent table, and this I have to do in order. But from the Java side, if you can see, we can put the dependency one by one, and it will truncate all the tables in one go. So that's why if you have to truncate a single table, I will use a SOAP UI also. But if you have to truncate lot of tables, or basically you can say I have to truncate the ORS itself, all the tables, all the business, and all the lookup tables, can use this Java program to do it. So we'll see tomorrow like that part, the Java from the Java side, and we will also look into this start basically the user exit part. That what are the different types of user exits we have. That's basically the hub user exit and the IDD user exits. Two types of user exits we have. That's basically used for the customization in case there is some custom requirement that comes up which is not possible from the MDM. Then we can write some custom Java code and implement it. So we'll see those scenarios tomorrow. Okay, then we'll end today's session and continue tomorrow. Thanks everyone.
Yeah. Vinay?
Yes, sure.
To do the hierarchy manager lab, we have to use the document in the shared path, right?
Yeah, document you can just use as a reference because that is using a different set of tables. So using that you can just see the steps.
Okay.
But you can create your own table. Better to create your own tables. Table, address table, and a relationship table. When you can try on that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, try it. In case you have any issues, let me know.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Thank you. Bye.